Hello and welcome to Rebel Geek. I know you guys know this channel as the Barbie Experience Podcast. I have been doing some experimenting, and Rebel Geek is here to stay. It is my overall channel. Barbie Experience Podcast does still exist, but Rebel Geek, it allows me to explore other things that I love, especially my fandoms, geekdoms, the things that we love, and I really like to prioritize mental health. So it's the combination of both pop culture and mental health. And today I have a very, very special episode for you guys. So yesterday, Brandazzo, who is my co-host and partner for some of these Rebel Geek episodes, he and I went to go see the first couple episodes of The Acolyte. Now, this episode is being pre-recorded and dropped right when The Acolyte drops. So, fair warning, while the episode that I released last night had no spoilers, I'm giving you guys spoilers today. Oh, yes. We are getting into it tonight. Okay. So, first off, a little about myself in case you're new. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you like going deep into geeky and nerdy things. I love to cover Comic Cons, and I really cover the gamut when it comes to both comic books and television and film. And I try to give you guys an overall great experience. A little about myself. I am Belle Diepa. You might know me by my pen name, Isabel S. Diepa. I am a culture journalist, and I have been published in places like the AV Club, Bust Magazine, Bust.com, Elle.com, NPR, and a few other places to give my thoughts and opinions on television, comics, and film. So, needless to say, I am actually a legitimate culture writer. And sometimes, sometimes we don't want to admit that we have had some success, but yes. All right. So, on to tonight's show. That was just a little explainer about who I am and what this is and why you're watching me. And if not, I'm aside from being a culture writer, I'm also just a really fun, rambunctious Puerto Rican, and you can just stay for the jokes, however you like. Okay, so The Acolyte premiered today. There are 8 episodes, and we will be getting new episodes every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. So, this show. Okay, I really liked it. As I said last night, I did like it. I wanted to go a little deeper into it because, like I said, I'm a culture writer, and I love exploring what we have as far as popular culture goes. I really love exploring television shows and comics, and my background, aside from being a writer in journalism, I have a degree in theater. So dramaturgy is my jam. Like, Brandez was making fun of me yesterday because he was like, I never heard someone call something juicy, because I love script. I love getting into the text. I'm a big Shakespeare fan, and I think that there's a lot of echoes, and Star Wars especially. George Lucas has said this himself, that a lot of Star Wars is inspired by Shakespeare. It's inspired by Greek tragedy. So you have a lot of these characters that they're not that they're stock characters, but they are reminiscent of characters that we know from mythology and from literature. So, diving into the show right away, I will say I liked the writing. The writing, it wasn't too complex. The pace was really good, and I felt like we were getting a lot of information. As I said yesterday, the first 20-30 minutes of the episode the very first episode felt a little slow, but that's because we're getting a lot of exposition. And I think in part it's because, I think Kathleen Kennedy and a lot of the folks over at Lucasfilms really want for these shows to be open to everyone. So you don't have to have read the High Republic books. You don't have to have seen all of the movies. You can just dive right in wherever and kind of like understand the story. But they had to give you some exposition. They had to explain what the heck is going on, because, we open and we see the fight scene that we saw in the trailers. And yes, just like full disclosure, as I said, these are spoilers. So first spoiler is there was the theory that there are twins, and yes, there are two. So you have Osha and May, who are both played by Amandla. And it's interesting because, again, George Lucas, he loves looking at the he loves really going into mythology and into literature. And the thing about the Force, and Freddie Prinze Jr. talked about this one time in a really great podcast episode where he was explaining the Force as it was explained to him. The Force is all about balance, light and dark. And so we see these themes over and over and over again in Star Wars. It's about light and dark. It's about light and dark. So what do we have? Osha is light and May is dark. Now, Osha and May were twins. There was an incident. The twins were separated. Osha was raised by the Jedi, and she comes in at the age of 8, which, hint, hint, that's also the age that Anakin comes in. So again, we see these repeating themes. And when Osha comes in, Lord, who was Yord Fandar, my bad, Yord, says that they did not want to accept her because she was too old to have entered the order. So she trains with the order, and then she winds up leaving about 6 years ago from the present day of the Acolyte. So she starts when she's 8 years old, and I think she ends up leaving like around 16 years old. I think that was what she said, but my math might be wrong. But basically, she trains and she leaves, and she's under the impression that her twin sister died. So we learn about the murder mystery right away. We know who's killing everyone. So, and that is exposed within the first couple of episodes. Sol, who was played by Ling Yung-jae, was the master of Osha. Osha was his former Padawan, and he has, again, a lot of repeating themes. Lee Jung-jae said specifically that he took inspiration from Liam Neeson's portrayal of Qui-Gon, and it definitely shows. Lee Jung-jae is or Sol. The character is basically like Qui-Gon Jinn 1.0. He's very much like, we don't need to follow all the rules by the book, whereas Yord is like, everything is by the book. Everything is by the book. What's super fascinating is here during the time of the High Republic, the Jedi are at their highest. They are definitely, at the top of their game. Whereas in the prequel trilogies, they were doing pretty well, but they weren't really like at the top of the game the way that they are here. And it's really interesting, especially there's this one scene with Yord where he tries to play the Jedi mind trick on when he's looking for Osha. Osha is working as a mechanic on a freighter ship, and he's looking for her, and the person who owns the ship is like trying to hide the fact that he has a mechanic on ship. I don't know why, but it was interesting to see Yord do the Jedi mind trick, and it almost felt a little abusive. And it really made me think about power and about how do we look at power and the Jedi, because the Jedi are always known to be good, right? Like, they're supposed to be the light, they're supposed to be good, but they also are just humans. And or not, they're not all humans. A lot of them are human species, but they have human qualities, human tendencies. And I think that's where we actually get to the heart of what this story is about. So Osha and May have been divided at birth. May grows up thinking that her twin sister Osha is dead, and Osha grows up thinking that her twin sister May is dead. And Sol, who raised Osha, also supposedly, I don't know, he might be lying, but he supposedly said that he saw May die. So, but May's alive, so we don't know. We don't know. Is she? Is he lying? Sol, are you lying? Anyway, so within the writing, we explore all these themes. We explore the character development, which it's an ensemble cast, and they do a really good job of giving us enough background information of each character that we get an understanding of who these characters are, even as, I don't want to say 2D, but some of them are a little 2D. Like Yord Fandar, who is the by the book Jedi. Like that's literally how they explain him, as the by the book Jedi. He's a little 2D, but I think that gives him room to become a villain, because like whenever you're so by the book and whenever you're like, no, everything is black and white, the moment that you realize that the world is gray, oh my gosh, like your whole world is rocked and you decide, okay, I'm just going to give up. And this is how people go into like the freaking dark side. And remember, this is the Acolyte. This is why I have the red theme. This is the rise of the Sith. And in the Clone Wars, they were like, the Sith have not been seen for millennia. But clearly that's not true. And May has a mentor who is masked. We do not know who this person is. I have my theories that her master, the one who has been training her, is not Palpatine. I think it's Plagueis, Palpatine's master. And I mean, I'll give you guys my before I end, I will give you my thoughts and theories. So I'm gonna put that a little pin on that, because I do have a pin on who I think Plagueis is. Okay. So I got into the writing. I wanted to get a little more into the characters. So in this world, the Jedi are definitely space cops. They are not just space wizards. I love describing them as space wizards, but they are not just space wizards. They are space cops. They're here to keep the order. And so the reason why I say that the script is juicy and this text is juicy is because May is on a revenge rampage. And every single Jedi, she is specifically looking to kill 4 Jedi that had to do with the death of her family. So May and Osha's parents died. We don't know the details of all that happened. We know that there was an accident. We know that fire was involved. Osha believes that May killed her parents, but we're not sure about that. However, May is under the impression that the Jedi are the ones who did wrong. And so there are 4 Jedi that she is going after. One of them is Sol, who we see him trying to find May and trying to keep the peace with her. One of them is Kalnaka, who is a Wookiee. And then the other 2 we see killed already. What's really interesting is that May's master is not only training her in combat and a little bit in the Force, but he wants to expose the Jedi. I believe that whoever is training May really believes that the Jedi are hypocrites, and May believes that the Jedi are also hypocrites, that the Jedi Order is a sham, that it's a lie. And so because she believes it's a lie, and because he also believes it's a lie, when he says that he wants her to kill the Jedi, or he's helping her to kill the Jedi without weapons, that she needs to kill them without weapons, what he really means is like, kill their reputation, kill them without words. Or as she did with one of the characters, and I didn't put it in my notes, so please forgive me. But we see in episode 2, one of the characters who he has taken a vow of silence for 10 years. So 10 years has passed, and he has been trying to find peace, and she is able to get into his head, and it's really dark, but he ends up like committing suicide, and we don't know why. I don't know if I can say that word. He ends up taking his own life. I'll edit that out. But it's dark, and the real mystery is what actually happened to May and Osha. What happened in their homes, and who is truthfully to blame? Are the Jedi responsible? And of all these characters that we have Yord, we have Jackie Lon, who is the new Padawan of Soul. We have Kelnaka, who's played by Jonas, who also plays Chewbacca in the sequel trilogy. And we have Vernestra Rowe. Now, of all of the characters, the only one that I know who was in the High Republic books is Vernestra Rowe. I was able to read Light of the Jedi before the show started. I really wanted to get at least a basic idea of the High Republic. So Vernestra Rowe was one of the youngest Jedi Knights. And in the Light of the Jedi, that book takes place when the Starlight, I think it was called the Starlight Beacon, there was like this huge accident, and the Jedi were working together to try to save the entire galaxy from all of these like carts that were flying out into different parts of the galaxy that basically were like asteroids that could have destroyed planets. And during the time, so Vernestra, also known as Vern, was one of the youngest Jedi Knights who became a Jedi Knight at the age of 15. In this show, she's clearly an adult, and she seems to be older than Soul. I don't know how her species ages, but from everything I was finding in Wikipedia, so she is a Merlian, and they are human-like according to Wikipedia. So Miriel, they're from the planet Miriel, so they're Mirielans. I think that's how you pronounce that. Please, if I am saying this incorrectly, someone in the comments, please give me an etymology lesson on this. But Vern was around during the Starlight Beacon, has been around for a long time. So she has seen some stuff. And she is more than by the book. She's by the book to the point that it almost makes you feel like she's hiding something. So I don't know. Like, I feel like these are Jedi who their hands might be a little dirty. So yeah. So I feel like nobody here is really completely innocent except for maybe Osha and May, who were basically used as pawns for like a wider political scheme. That is what I feel is where we're going with this. So I've only seen episodes 1 and 2 like everybody else. This was my thoughts on like characters, on writing, on breaking down how this show is going. Now, here are my thoughts and theories for the future. I believe that Manny Jacinto, who plays Camille, is the man in the mask. I think he's Darth Plagueis. I think that if we see this, so we see Soul as Qui-Gon Jinn, right? And we see Yord as like a very primitive Obi-Wan Kenobi. And like we see that May is a very primitive Anakin, and Osha is also the light side of Anakin. So who's going to be Palpatine? Come here. I think. Is that how you say his name? Come here? Come here. All right, guys, that is all that I have for you for today, for tonight. Please let me know in the comments what you guys thought. Did you guys get a chance to see The Acolyte? How do you feel about it? And let me know if you want me to do this type of breakdown for any other shows. So I'm really super into Star Wars and into Marvel, and you will be seeing a lot more coverage from Rebel Geek on all things pop culture. And I have a new podcast that will be coming out soon that I will be sharing with you all very, very, very soon. Okay, guys, don't forget to like and to subscribe. And if you want to read any articles that I have been writing, please be sure to check out my website, isabellsdiepa.com, and sign up for my upcoming newsletter that is going to give you all of the latest geeky news I'm able to find. All right, guys, take care. Bye.